Since a long talk about elemental regents and Greek philosophy isn't going to interest a lot of my subscribers, I figure I'd better release another video about the same time. And there's plenty to discuss about how the Legion pre-expansion content is shaping up. But I should warn you, there's going to be some spoilers in this video. The place where I'd like to start discussing it all is actually with the characters. Characters are practically the backbone of every narrative, and Blizzard made a bold move, killing off both faction leaders in the same battle. Varian and Vol'jin were characters who had a lot of things happen to them and made decisions that made huge, epic outcomes happen. Varian chose to believe that the whole Horde betrayed the Alliance at the Wrathgate and Wrath of the Lich King instead of just believing that it was Apothecary Putris that was the traitor, and that cut off a joint Alliance Horde front against the Undead Scourge. Varian chose not to have anything to do with the Shah when the potential to turn it into a weapon was offered to him, which made him rise where Garrosh fell. Varian chose to trust the Horde at the Broken Shore so that a joint offensive there was possible. These decisions are what made him who he was and that showed him off as such a great character. By the same token, Vol'jin goes back even further to Warcraft 3. He led his island trolls with Thrall when their island began to sink, and this was right after his own father had died to Murlocs. While he wasn't on screen at the time, it's implied he was right there with Thrall, helping him help Cairn Bloodhoof through the Tauren's migration through the Barrens to Mulgore. He was there helping Rexxar fight the Alliance while Admiral Proudmoore was being racist and attacking them with the Kultiris Marines. He was one of the few leaders willing to call Garrosh out when he was being a jerk as war chief, and he held the Horde's fragile coalition of convenience together during the Mists of Pandaria expansion when it was at its most vulnerable. Both of these were Warcraft characters who showed a lot of, well, character. They showed a lot of virtues and were very important to a ton of other Warcraft characters, and their loss will be deeply felt. Not only by players, but by in-story characters as well. I don't know if this has any significance, but I noticed that both faction leaders were injured in just about the same two places. Maybe it's just showing how they weren't all that different, and I guess in a lot of ways they weren't. Both of them were brave and wise, and both rose above adversity and were persistent and good enough, in every sense of the word good, to be well-liked and respected leaders of their respective factions. And both of their deaths show just how huge a threat the Legion's current invasion is going to be in this expansion. Now, I've been saying this for a few expansions now, but Blizzard is putting a lot of emphasis on story, and they have been ever since Mists. Once again in Legion, it looks like that's where the emphasis is going to be. This could turn out to be a double-edged sword for Blizzard, though. If they can keep the story content coming and keep players engaged, then Legion could well be the expansion that saves WoW. However, content is exactly one of Warlord's biggest problems. We were expecting 5 raids and 4 patches, and we got 3 raids and 2 patches. Don't get me wrong, the raids they made were great, but we really should have gotten more of them. Maybe, just maybe, Blizzard can learn from its mistakes about this and keep the content coming this expansion. I mean, the last 2 expansions were, in a sense, Blizzard learning from its mistakes from the previous expansion. In Cataclysm, max-level players burned through the content and then got bored and stopped logging in. In response to this, Blizzard made Mists full of max-level dailies and tons of incentives to do those dailies. Of course, max-level dailies turned out to get old and boring fast, so Blizzard made Warlords with garrisons in an effort to give players a different incentive to keep logging in. Not to make it sound like content was Warlord's only problem, but could it be that Legion will be the expansion where Blizzard notices that the content didn't keep coming in Warlords, and so in Legion they'll keep it coming? I can hope so, and it'll be especially important to keep the content coming in Legion since they're trying to turn the player character into a Warcraft character in this expansion. Here's why I say that. I've seen a lot of complaints about how they're turning the player character into a badass on par with or even surpassing established canon characters. When an enhancement shaman, for example, picks up doomhammer, he gets a fiery copy of doomhammer in his other hand automatically, something Thrall didn't get when he was carrying doomhammer. The implication is that the player character is better with doomhammer than Thrall was. On the surface, that cheapens Thrall as a character, but if this genuinely gives the player character a chance to shine, then that chance to shine could turn out to be fun, engaging, and epic. If it does, then Blizzard will actually create a great experience. I'm guessing that's what Blizzard is gunning for, a chance to turn the player character into a Warcraft character. I can understand why. Warcraft characters are beloved. They've done amazing things and made crucial decisions and been through horrific battles. Taking the player through a story like the stories that have happened in the Warcraft universe has the potential to be a truly epic journey, and turning the player's character into a Warcraft character gives Blizzard a chance to do that. However, there are plenty of pitfalls here. If your triumphs are handed to you instead of earned, if you don't actually get any real triumphs, whether that's due to lack of content to give them opportunities to shine or just poorly handled story, then the whole make the player character a Warcraft character plan could fall flat on its face. There is a real danger in what Blizzard's trying to do with artifact weapons in Legion. It's a high-risk move Blizzard is trying here. They better not botch it this time, or it's time to start thinking about the Warcraft 4 real-time strategy game. On that subject, it's interesting to note that every hero unit in Warcraft 3 had a character to go along with it. The Blade Masters you hear about now and then every time a "what new class would you like" discussion comes up, Blade Masters had Grom Hellscream as a character. The Archmage hero unit had Jaina as a character. Paladins had Uther and Arthas as characters, and then Arthas became a Death Knight and they again had him as a character. Brewmasters, Chen Stormstout. Priestess of the Moon, Tyrande Whisperwind. Keeper of the Grove, Malfurion Stormrage. Demon Hunters, Illidan. The list goes on. Every hero unit had a Warcraft character to go with it. This is making me want to do a part 0 to the WoW Then and Now series where I talk about Warcraft 3, but I digress. In any case, if Warcraft 4 happens, then probably the Warcraft characters we see today will end up as hero units in that game. In all likelihood, there won't be paladins in the Alliance, at least not as hero units, since the only outstanding paladin Warcraft characters left in WoW are on the Horde side, some Sunwalkers and Lady Liadrin. More likely, Anduin will become some type of priestly hero, probably called a bishop, and Muradin and Jaina will be back as their Mountain King and Archmage hero units respectively. The funny thing is, I'm not sure where Varian would have fit into all of this. Clearly he's a warrior, but we've already got a warrior hero for the Alliance in Muradin, so Blizzard killing Varian off actually does quite a bit to pave the way for a Warcraft 4 real-time strategy game in that sense. Legion may end with Blizzard deciding WoW has had it and it's time to work on Warcraft 4, or it may not. It depends on how the expansion goes, and so far, the Legion invasions are proving to be fairly fun, and it gives Azeroth a chance to show just why they've been able to repel multiple Legion attacks in the past. It actually feels pretty badass when I'm not lagging to death. Yeah, it's probably time for me to get a new computer. Another promising thing about Legion, Blizzard is actually listening to player complaints. Case in point, Holy now has a baseline mobility tool in Divine Steed. If I had to pick one complaint for my last video for Blizzard to address, it would be that one. I know that I spent a bunch more time harping on Exorcism, but that's because everything fits together with that idea nicely, and a lack of range damage and a lack of damage tools with no cooldown are two of my personal pet peeves, having seen what the lack of those did to the fun factor in vanilla. But as annoying as the loss of Denounce was and is, the lack of mobility was a bigger problem because it was actually keeping me from doing my job as a healer, so I am so glad that it actually got fixed. Funny story about how I found out that it got fixed, though. After turning in one of those Legion pre-expansion quests in Stormwind and then being told about the Legion invasions, I saw an invasion in Dun Morogh. Obviously, the thing to do is to hop into the Deep Run tram, but just as I zoned in, the tram arrived on the far side. I knew I'd taken Divine Steed as a talent, but I couldn't find it on my spellbar. A side effect of Blizzard dropping Divine Steed to a trainable ability was that I had to get it out of my spellbook and onto my spellbar again. I didn't realize this until it was too late and the tram jetted away in front of me. I missed my subway train exactly because Blizzard gave me just what I had asked for. The irony is there, folks. Still, mine is a story with a happy ending since I got what I needed. It's too soon to tell whether the story of Legion will have a happy ending for players and for Blizzard, though. Whether Legion is going to be the expansion that turns WoW around or the expansion that finally kills it, the stakes are high. Blizzard knows it. Only time will tell if their risks and hard work finally pay off or not. We shall see.